he lived the rest of his teen years out in a dairy farm in Chihuahua. And that's where he ended up graduating high school. But he was allowed back into town. I don't know if I grew up in his shoes. I tried like hell, let me tell you. I looked up to that man way up there. What I got from him, when I was 17 years old, I was into drugs. I was into causing a lot of problems for a lot of people. And I left home when I was really young. Started living in the street. And at 17 years old, my uncle said to my mother, I'm going to pull that boy out of this situation. And him and Darlene had as much hand in this as anybody. Got me out of Seattle, put me on a bus, and brought me over here. And when I got into town, I've got to tell you, I got off the bus all stoned out, and I went across the street not knowing I was in Spokane, and I went to the restaurant next door and had a hamburger. Les was standing there with a man, I think most of you remember, his name was Doug Foster. Now, because he hadn't seen me come off the bus, they had other things to do at the time, and it was chasing police calls. And I don't know how many of you people knew that he chased police calls, but he'd get there before the ambulance. He'd get there for the officers. Sometimes he'd make me sit in the car. It was quite interesting. It was a heck of a way to live, to grow up. And in those years of growing up, in that year, it was only 1 year, but it was amazing, all the things that we did in that year. I remember he had airplane headlights in his high beams, and he put those high beams going through intersections so he could get away with just doing 40 miles an hour heading for the police call. Now that was crazy, but it worked. So I was in the back seat going, wow. And him and Doug were just partying down. These guys were something else. There was a reason why Doug Foster died early. One of his best friends, one of many. One thing I got from the man, you know, he ended up being able to talk to anybody. And everybody knows that. He was quite the man as far as the gift he had. I tried to inherit that, as much of that as possible, overcome all the self-conscious feelings and just
Steve, you're succeeded.
Trying to make people real, and as much as he did. In Seattle, that's not such an easy job, folks. Over here, it certainly is. But what I got from the man was just how to treat people, how to live with common ground, how to deal with objectives every day. The things that he came up against in his lifetime, he dealt with in a way that very few people can. And one thing that was always at the back of his mind that I have to respect 100% was his family and the gift of song and everything that he shared with his family and everything his family shared with everyone else. Those are the things that I remember the most about the man.